Today's activity is about making bubbles. The first thing you have to do to make bubbles is to make your bubble stuff, your bubble liquid. And this is made from water and dish soap, and then you can use either glycerin or corn syrup to kind of thicken it up a little bit. Either one will work. Glycerin, sometimes you can find it at the grocery store. You can check the pharmacy or in the first aid section, but it can be pretty hard to find, and corn syrup is easier to find. Down in the comments, I'll put recipes for 2 different ways to make bubble solution. Once you've got your bubble solution made, your next step is just to make a wand. And all this is a pipe cleaner, which is technically called a chenille stem, bent into the form of a bubble wand. If you've got a big hole like this, you tend to get bigger bubbles. If you have a smaller hole, you tend to get smaller bubbles. Let's see what I can get with this. That was a pretty big bubble. This wand, as you can see, is just one pipe cleaner bent in 3 different holes. Let's see what happens with that. Dip it in, let the drips drip off. A whole bunch of bubbles at once. You could make your own with even more bubble spots. So, bubbles almost always are round, aren't they? Do you think you could make a bubble with straight edges? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you a little trick. I made this bubble wand that's sort of shaped like a cube, and if I dip it in my bubble stuff and pull it out, can you see I've got a square bubble in there? But if I blow it, the bubbles are still round. The bubbles have surface tension, which means the soap layer wants to make the smallest layer that it can. Well, when it's in this cube, the smallest layer has those straight edges, but when it's blown out into the air, the smallest shape it can make and hold that air, the least amount of soap around that air is a sphere, and that's why bubbles are round. I'll talk about how I made this cube thing. You're going to take a pipe cleaner and fold it into a square like this and cut off the extra, and then fold the edges together so it's a square. Then I'm going to take another pipe cleaner and I'm going to make 3 sides of that same square. I'm actually going to do that, so I'll cut that part off. Do that same thing again, make 3 sides of that square. So I have a square and 2 things that are 3 sides of a square, and I'm going to hook them together like this. Just hook this edge and this edge and this edge and this edge. So you can see I've kind of got the start of a cube here. I just need to hook together these ends. I've got these bits I cut off before, so I'll hook one there and one there, one there, and now I've got a cube. You could also make a triangular prism. You can make different shapes and experiment with different kinds of bubble shapes and see what you get. Also, there's something that we can do here that people in most parts of the world can't, and that is freeze a bubble. I saw this cool video of someone who froze a bubble, and I'll put it down in the comments too, but when I did it, the same thing didn't happen. I'll show you what happened when I froze my bubbles outside. I blew my bubble and caught it on my wand, then set it in the snow. I waited and waited and waited for crystals to form, as they had in the video I'd seen, which is down in the comments. I waited and waited. It was cold. Finally, I figured it must be frozen, so I touched it. And it was. Maybe the conditions where she did it were different. Maybe she just had better light. I think you should try it and let me know what happens.